I have a question for Anjana about plasma. You mentioned about penalties for fraud blocks and also fraud proofs, right? So I assume that there should be some sort of a motivator for someone to send a fraud proof, right? There should be economic benefit. And in another place in your slide deck, I saw you mentioning about bounty schemes. So I'm just assuming that these economic benefits are none other than those bounties. So what my question is, uh, whether like who offers these bounties in first place, because this environment mostly apparently runs with private chains. So who ultimately offers these bounties, and also are something like security deposits, which was discussed for Ethereum proof of stake, are present in Plasma as well. For something like you have to put a security deposit first before, and you have to keep it at stake to start using the network or something like that.
Right. Thanks for that question first. So you're correct, 100% correct. So it's a very economical perspective. Just like how the Ethereum works, now we have the mining rewards, right? So to keep the blockchain up and running, we are paying like 3 ethers for the miners to add in each block. Let's say this, what will happen if this one of these miners will add a fraud information into the root chain. To avoid that, that's the reason they are using the proof of stake, which you clearly explained that we have to put a security deposit. And if the information is wrong, so definitely the stake he have put into the, when mining, it will goes off. So they are discussing about this DPoS, delegated proof of stake. So delegated proof of stake, they still, this is in the very discussion level in between the Ethereum research people. So what happened in the delegate proof of stake is like to mine these plasma blocks to move to the root chain, they will get the people who has most ethers, right? So so these mining people, for every block they are adding, they are getting 3 ethers from the community itself. That's why we are paying a gas price, right? So let's say the biggest miner has like 1,000 Ethereum, for example, let's say. So if we add one fraud block to the root chain, what will happen is the 1,000 ethers will taken from him through the algorithm in the Ethereum blockchain itself, right? Then they will do a soft fork, rollback, and add the correct block to the next block. So this is what will happen in the mining as well as Plasma itself. So bounty hunters and the fraud detection, this is something like a community thing. Let's say we have something called like software bug bounters. So if we found a bug in software, we are rewarding it. Like that, if they have a fault information, these guys can go and check in the Ethereum blockchain itself and say, okay, you have added a wrong information. And he can submit it through, they will have some kind of mechanism to submit it. So they will submit it through a platform, and definitely they will have something called voting mechanism as well. Voting mechanism as well, in the sense like, let's say I added a issue, added a problem. So if most users think that they have, most users think it's actually a fraud, the voting will go up. So after that, the people who are validating, the other validators will check whether this block is correct or not. So this is the bounty hunting. in a very clear manner. So for submitting that question, they will rewarded with some ethers. We still don't know because the Ethereum Plasma is still in the testnet, and we have we have uh, we have chances to do any rogue stuff also because it's still testnet, and we can change it. We are not paying the real ether, but when it's come to the real game, I think definitely they will have a mechanism to do that. So I think I have answered your question for that one. Right. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Actually, I do have a question, sir. You said that when it comes to parent chains, you can have their own without like submitting the information into the main chain. You can like make them like private as well. So if they do that, do they have to like maintain their infrastructure to like it won't be on the in the main ledger, right? So it won't be distributed among the normal Ethereum nodes. So will they have to keep their own like is it like a private network? Do they have to like maintain their own infrastructure?
Okay, so the question to that one is like, for example, let's get the same example you guys are explained in the first stage, right? You are doing a private blockchain using Quorum for the financial transaction, right? Let's say we'll get a real example. Let's say you want to put the financial end of year financial information, right? So this is usually happening on March, right, Lusha? Yes. So March end, right? So he's from Baxter. So uh, until March, from April to the next year March, you can store this information in your private blockchain. But rest of the stuff you can put into the mainnet. So in that case, you can have your own blockchain structure, architecture, private or public, doesn't matter. Only thing wants to be is it should be compatible with Plasma smart contract, right? So for example, Hyperledger Fabric, they have now a tool to communicate with Ethereum mainnet, but it's not acting as a side chain or child chain, but they can communicate. So we can do some stuff in Hyperledger Fabric, which is a private blockchain, and whatever the information we want to put into the root chain, we can push it. So for your question, for the architecture wise, it doesn't want to be very compatible. Only thing want to do is like they should have a mechanism to communicate with the root chain through Plasma contracts. So that's the answer.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I have a question too. Yeah. My question is, in Ethereum 2.0, there are a number of improvements for the core infrastructure or the core blockchain. So when Ethereum 2.0 comes, the requirement of using Plasma, will it go away?
Okay, Ethereum 2.0 is not Plasma first thing, right? Plasma is a portion of it. So the question you have answered, no, Plasma will not go away. All the stuff will be there, but the mechanism could be very different. So to be honest, Ethereum 2.0 will not come for another 2 to 3 years. Definitely it will not come because it's very difficult. So if you download the full blockchain, it's around like 4 to 6 GB now, the full blockchain. So because of this reason, if they want to announce Ethereum 2.0, what they want to do is they want to build a backward compatibility system. This is the same reason they are going to do in January 19th in the hard fork. They want to insert these new improvements into their existing blockchain and remove the other stuff from the rest. So the question you have asked, the Plasma will not go away. That's why I said Ethereum 2.0 is not Plasma. Plasma is something they have put a name to do this, is to solve this scalability issue. It's like a nickname they have used. So Plasma will have different variants like the MVP, MoVP, Plasma Cache, Plasma Snap, like that. So the very recent release is called the Ignis Plasma, Fire Ignis Plasma. So it's from another company. They launched their testnet with the 500 transactions per second. You guys go and check if you are familiar with the development. You can use your MetaMask account and go and check. So they have achieved that 500 transactions per second speed. So as I said, to achieve this one, you have to pay more gas price. But if you are not willing to pay more gas price, still this transaction is accepting within 30 seconds or within 45 seconds. So yeah, so that's the answer.
Yeah, right. Thanks. And another small question is, in the latest, I mean, the January 19th art fork, are they releasing the sharding as well? No, right?
Okay, so it's a good word you came up from there, the sharding. So sharding is a very, actually Plasma is a flavor of sharding, right? So I just want to go a little bit technical here. So in the big data subject, to do the sharding, we have something called MapReduce. So MapReduce from the Google, they have introduced by Google. So what will happen is you just push the data, the MapReduce function will do the rest of the things, right? So for the Plasma as well, they have this MapReduce flavor, but we still don't know how they use it because it's still in the test network. So they didn't clearly explained how the MapReduce in blockchain works. They didn't. Even the Plasma white paper, they mentioned the MapReduce is there. Vitalik want to use it, but there is no black and white answer how they are going to use it. So the question you asked, sharding, the Plasma is a flavor of sharding actually. So when they have a proper solution for sharding, they will release Ethereum 2.0 because we can do the centralization, we can do the security, but the scalability is the biggest problem. So when you add a new node, the security will increase by n, but the decentralization will be like 1 divided by n. So this is the equation they are using. So that's the answer for your question. So sharding, Plasma is a flavor of sharding. So when they release Ethereum 2.0, Plasma will not go away, but definitely the mechanism will change. Like now we have bounty hunters and everything, right? They will not use it anymore. But the child chain, the parent chain and child chain, those structure will be there. Okay.